Welcome to a new video! Today I'm going to share with you my Salamangreat deck profile, which has been requested. However, I don't really have anything else to say for the start, beside the normal thing that I like to say, that if you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It's helped the channel a ton. If you enjoyed the video as well, give it a like and let me know in the comments down below what do you think about it. And what you will change or improve, because there are some particular versions that I've seen for Salamangreats. However, I tried to stay with the standard version. Probably the extra deck is kind of like the weirdest part, but mostly I'm trying to stick with the traditional Salamangreat. So yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. And without further ado, let's jump right into the video itself. Jumping right into the list, we're going to start things off with the normal Salamangreat package, which is the 1 copy of Gazelle, the triple copies of Spinny, the triple copies of Foxy, the 2 Jaguar, the 1 Falco, and then a new addition to the family, I also decided to run the 1 copy of Fowl. Now these particular cards are also self-explanatory in any Salamangreat list, but Fowl is kind of like a new one, because I came to the conclusion that sometimes I want an extender, but like an extender level 3 is really good, but I also sometimes just want a Salamangreat specific extender because this is searchable. And it also has just an additional effect, which is really nice to kind of like lock back rows, which is really cool. So I decided to run the 1 copy of Fowl. I'm not 100% sure if I really like the card to stay. I might going to cut it completely and run once again Backup Secretary. But for the moment, I'm just testing and I feel like the card just does its job. As for the rest of the cards, you already know, Falco is like your free special summon if you already open up with the Jaguar or something. And then you kind of like use these two as a rank 4. And this is your rank 3 package with the Gazelle at 1, unfortunately, still a very good card. And it's a card that basically, if you send a Salamangreat from anywhere, as long as like it's end up in your hand, so something like a Silent Mining sending a Spinny, it will special summon itself just like a Multi-Faker or Darkness Diablos, which is absolutely an insane card, so this card is ridiculous. Spinny is your free extender in the graveyard, and Foxy is either your, activate the top 3 cards of your decks, which sometimes does happen, not a whole lot, but does, or your free special summon, which is also a discard outlet for Spinny, which is really good. So this is a pretty standard Salamangreat lineup, nothing really much to explain in here, I just wanted to explain the basic effects for anybody who want to know specifically. And then for your additional Cybers support, we have the 3 Buffalo, the 3 Xyz, and then the 1 copy of Sea Archiver. This is the lineup that I decided to go with. I feel like this is just doing what it needs to do. Although, specifically on the Parallel Xyz, I'm a little bit iffy, because I might need space for other things, and Parallel Xyz sometimes doesn't really achieve what it needs to do. But for the most part, it does its job. It's giving you the additional 2 extenders that you need. It's sometimes a little bit of a problem, but that's why Buffalo is here, is that if you open up with 2 of them, you can always just like link this off, discard one of them, and then just special summon the other, and then you'd special summon the 3rd one directly from your deck, so that's kind of fine. I know that there are some people who say, like, you know, oh, if this is your only Cybers in your hand, you don't really want to use Buffalo effect on it. True, but sometimes you have to sacrifice different things, and another thing to mention is that these 2 together are basically a splash mage, so you can once again get back your Buffalo, and if you have another Cybers in your hand, or you are able somehow to get one with your particular other plays, you can just do other things as well. So this card is really good. I am very much liking this card, but it has its own particular problems. And then Buffalo, like I said, you discard the Cybers when it's sent to the graveyard, and then you get to draw 2 cards, and Archiver is just a great card to discard or do something with. I just felt like the card is very good. And that does it for your Cybers monsters, and then for the last 6 cards we run in the monster department, which is 3 Ash Blossom, and 3 Effect Veiler. We need some kind of hand trap, so I just decided to go with these 6. There is also Infinite Impermanence, but these are the monsters' hand traps, which I felt are really good, and basically the best during everything. Like, you know, basically around almost every single locals. Like, they're the best ones to start with, because they're good against almost every single matchup in a way. And then, that does it for the monsters. Pretty short, pretty sweet. Now we'll jump right into the spells. And for the spells, we have obviously 3 copies of Silent Mining, pretty self-explanatory, the 1 copy of Circle, the double copies of Will, which is a nice Monster Reborn / whatever it needs to be, and then the 1 copy of Sanctuary, which is like your important field spell, And then I just started to just run once again double copies of Pot of Desires, and then also 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Now, Cosmic Cyclone specifically is in here instead of something like a Lightning Storm. First, because I don't own a Lightning Storm, and B, because I feel like this is so much better than a Lightning Storm right now, because we have the Sky Prison card that came out in Burst of Destiny, like, you know, the secret Heavenly King Sky Prison, or whatever that's called, the one that basically you reveal it in your hand and your opponent cannot pop back row. This banished the back row. Doesn't pop it, so it can bypass that and you can get rid of annoying cards, as well as a quick play spell, so things like Imperial Order, just like you get rid of them immediately, which is really, really cool. And Desires, I don't really 100% like it, but I felt like the additional 2 cards that basically giving you the ability to dig deeper into your deck is just really good, and also having the ability to get access more to your hand traps, I really, really like that. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for the spells. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward, nothing really much to explain about that. And then for the traps, we have 5, 1 Rage, 1 Roar, and triple infinite permanence, as I mentioned. Now, these 2 specifically, you can bump them up to 2 each if you want specifically to cut something like a foul and another card, or even if you want to cut one of the Cosmic Cyclones and a foul, because you probably not sure if Desires is not going to banish both of these cards. But you have to understand that you're not always going to into these traps. These traps are great, but they're not your main thing that you're trying to go into. So the point is you're trying to get into a particular end board that you will see what I mean, but if you're able to get into your counter traps or your normal trap, that's fine, but sometimes you have to use Desires or other cards to banish them, and that's how you have to leave with the deck. But that does it for the traps as well. And that is to the deck profile in terms of the main deck. Now we'll jump right into the extra deck. And for the extra deck, we have 2 Xyzs first, which are the Mirage Stalio, which is at 1, and Abyss Dweller. Nothing really much to explain about this card. This is just an excellent card that basically summons things directly from your deck, and you want to use this card as much as possible. So you're trying to shuffle this back into your extra deck with things like Jack Jaguar. And then we have an Abyss Dweller, which Abyss Dweller is just the great rank 4 that I really like. I wanted to also run Baguska, but I felt like this is just the best way to do things, because Abyss Dweller is just good amongst everything, and it's also like an effect that you can activate before your board is getting destroyed, like immediately during the standby phase. So, unlike Baguska, which can remove the floodgate, this can still stay around and sometimes hinder a lot of decks, and that's why I really like the Abyss Dweller. But that does it for these, and now we'll move on into the Salamangreat extra deck monsters, which we like to run standardly, and all of the link monsters: 3 Bellionix, 3 Sunlight Wolf, and then the 2 copies of Hitleo, which I'm actually considering cutting down to 1, because Hitleo is great, however, the 2 copies are not that necessary. But I still like to run this ratio just because, you know, standard's sake, and I really, really like this overall. Bellionix, search your field spell. Silent Wolf is probably what the deck is built around, and Hitleo is just your big boss monster that can just get rid of things, which is really, really nice, and can also shuffle back row back into the deck, which giving you a card that deal with back row that is not Phoenix specifically if you don't have space in the extra deck, just like I don't. So that's why I like this card quite a lot. And then for the rest of the extra deck monsters, we run 1 copy of IP, 1 copy of Splash Mage, 1 copy of Appetite Jammer, Transcode Talker, and our basically, for now, budget option until, access code will be out in the gold version, is Avermax, which is a great card. And basically, IP is here because there are some particular situations that we're not able to end up with a level 2, like 2 level 4s to make a rank 4 or anything else. So IPs are really good. I was considering maybe running also something like an Appaloosa as in like a, 2 interruptions with linking this off in like a Sunlight Wolf during the opponent's turn, but I kind of really, really like the Avermax because it's a very hard monster to kill and get rid of. Then we have the Transcode Jammer package, which is also a very, very nice way to deal with boards, which is really cool, and OTK your opponent. And then a Splash Mage, which I really like as well, because this card, like, you link 2 cards to this. Summon, for example, the Buffalo from your graveyard. and then you just link those two off into a transcode, and then you still get the discard 1, draw 2, which is great, so that's why I really like the Splash Mage. I'm not sure about Splash Mage's place in the extra deck, but for now I really like it, and that's why I decided to run it. But that does it for the deck profile as an overall. Like I said, pretty short, pretty straightforward. There's really not a whole lot to explain when it comes to Salamangreats, because the deck has been around for a very, very long time, and almost everybody knows what it does. And it's also just a very simple deck that is just really, really fun. So, yeah, that's pretty much does it for the deck profile as an overall. Now let's move on into the combo section. Welcome to the combo section. And in the combo section, I'm basically going to go with you with 3 combos that I think are pretty important for you to know playing the deck. Now, these combos are very, very basic, but they're supposed to teach you on the sequences, or kind of like ways that you can build your own combos and other cards, things that you want to do. So for the first combo I'm going to share with you is going to be the 1 copy of Spinny and the 1 copy of Silent Mining to make the combo. Now, of course, this can specifically also be Gazelle, which might actually be preferred if you have it in your hand. But like I said, in the deck profile itself, you don't really need to depend on the Gazelle for everything anymore. And Gazelle is at 1, so it's not always going to happen that you're actually going to have the ability to open up with it. But now, let's get started with the combo itself. So to start things off, we're going to activate the Silent Mining, and we're going to discard the Spinny, and add from our deck to our hand the so-called already talked 1 copy of Gazelle. Now, Gazelle Effect can trigger here, because Gazelle Effect works like Darkness Diablos, like Ultrageist Multifaker, that if it gets added from your deck to your hand, and the Salamangreat, Salamangreat monster is sent to the graveyard, even if it didn't see it, apparently it works from what I checked, so you can special summon immediately the Gazelle to your side of the field, and send to the graveyard the 1 copy of Roar, or 1 copy of Rage, depending on the format. A lot of people really like to send Roar more. Sometimes I like Roar, sometimes I really like Rage, but I would send specifically, because people like it more, the Roar. We're then going to use the effect of the Spinning in our graveyard to special summon itself due to its own effect, because we control another Salamangreat monster. And then we're going to exceed these 2 off into Mirage Stallion. Mirage Stallion will detach any of the materials, and then we get to special summon directly from our deck the Jack Jaguar, and then we're going to link Jack Jaguar into a Bellionix. Bellionix's effect will add to our hand the Sanctuary, and then we're going to activate Sanctuary. Now we're going to take these 2, and we're going to link them off into a Sunlight Wolf. In this point specifically, we're going to use the Sunlight Wolf again, and to make another copy of Silent Wolf due to copy of this card effect, and then we're going to use the effect of Jack Jaguar in our graveyard, shuffle back into our extra deck the Mirage Stallion because we want to use it again in a later turn, and then we're going to special summon it from our graveyard, triggering the effect of Sunlight Wolf to give us to our hand back the Gazelle. We're then going to use the effect of Sunlight Wolf to get to our hand back the Roar. Now, specifically, you can technically also set the Roar, but because of me want to get, the Roar back without it being, how should I say this, banished, is far better, so that's why I'm doing that, and then we're going to set the Roar to our side of the field. And here is where you have an option to decide. You can either use Gazelle or another monster in your hand, because we didn't normal summon it, link these 2 off into an IP, and then pass the turn to your opponent, which will give you the option during the opponent's turn to go into a link 4, like something like an Avermax, or if you want to, even a Unicorn if you want to run that in the extra deck, whatever specifically you want for the situation, and giving you an annoying boss monster or a particular card that you need. However, I'm not always sure that I want to do that, so it's really, really up to you if you want to basically use the Gazelle in your hand and the Jack Jaguar on the field, but, I'm just going to present that as an option. Whatever you feel good for you for the situation, that's what you should go with. But that does it for combo number 1, which is the longest one because you need to explain all the card interactions. Now let's move on into combo number 2. So for combo number 2, we're going to follow once again with the opening of Spinny. However, sometimes you do not open it up with the Silent Mining, but instead you open up with a Foxy, which is also a great card to open up in your hand. So let's get started with the combo. So starting things off, we're going to normal summon the Foxy, not use its effect because you want the graveyard effect, and then we're going to link this card off into a Salamangreat Bellionix. The normal Song and Dance, we're going to add to our hand the Salamangreat Sanctuary, and then we're going to activate Salamangreat Sanctuary. Foxy effect in the graveyard, because we control a face-up spell or trap, we get to discard a Salamangreat, special summon itself out of the graveyard, and then we do not destroy our Sanctuary. You do have the ability if you wanted to destroy your Sanctuary if you want to, but there is really no reason to do that. And then we're going to use the effect of Spinny, because we control another Salamangreat, to special summon itself from the graveyard. We're then going to exceed these two into Mirage Stalio as usual, and then we're going to detach a material, summon directly from your deck the Gazelle. And Gazelle effect is going to dump to your graveyard a counter trap. Now, of course, specifically you can dump something else if you feel it necessary depending on the situation, but mostly you're just going to dump the counter trap. Then we're going to link these two off into your Sunlight Wolf. And then we're going to basically use, sorry, not these two, like specifically the extra deck monsters, this need to stay on the field. I kind of just got this confused. The two extra deck monsters you do because you need a level 4 or lower. Basically, you're now going to use this card to link it off into the second Bellionix, and that will trigger this card effect to add back to your hand the Gazelle. Then we're going to link this off again with the effect of the field spell into another copy of Sunlight Wolf, and then this will add to our hand the Roar, and then we set the Roar or the Rage and pass the turn to our opponent. And that way, we also play around Mech Knights. I really like to do the combo in this particular order, but it doesn't really matter. Now, you still have a follow-up in your graveyard with the other Foxy and the other Spinny and other stuff as well. But this is kind of like how the combo works. I really like it quite a lot. And that does it for combo number 2. Let's move on in the final combo, which is combo number 3. Alright, so for the third and final combo, we're going to use two cards that are new for the combo, which are going to be Jack Jaguar and Gazelle. Well, not new, but, you know, new to starting in your hand. Now, specifically, like I said a million times, because Gazelle is at 1, you're not always going to open up with it, but there are some particular situations that you're going to open up with those two into your hand. So I want to teach the basic thing that what happened if you have a level 4 plus a Salamangreat to kind of like how you're able to play with it. So let's get started. Starting things off, we're going to normal summon the Jaguar, use Jaguar immediately to link summon into a Bellionix, and then Bellionix is going to activate as a Chain Link 1 to add Sanctuary, and Gazelle is going to be special summoned as a Chain Link 2. So, we're going to add the Sanctuary, and then Gazelle effect will trigger to send the Spinny. We're then going to use Spinny's effect, special summon itself, and then we're going to exceed these two into a Mirage Stalio. Mirage Stalio effect, detach a card, special summon directly from your deck the Falco. Can also be the Foul, but the Falco will also have a better follow-up. And then we're going to link these two off into a Sunlight Wolf. Next, we're going to activate the effect of Jaguar, returning from our deck graveyard to our extra deck the Mirage Stalio, and special summon it to a zone its points to, which will trigger the Sunlight Wolf effect to add to your hand back the Gazelle. We then can activate our field spell if we want to, or if we don't want to. It's really up to us, and then we can also just specifically maybe even Reincarnation Link into this if you feel like it. You don't really have to, but you can do that if you really want. And then these two are going to be turned into a rank 4, which is going to be an Abyss Dweller. And there you go. So in this particular combo, this is kind of like what happened if you open up with a level 4, plus a Gazelle or a Silent Mining and a discard. You know how that goes, and that is kind of very, very important to know. But that's pretty much does it for the combo section and does it for the deck profile as a whole. Let's now move on into the next deck choices. Alright, so for the next deck choices, we have 4 options as usual. Now, Cubic specifically has been chosen for the next deck profile for specifically, just a few days ago. So Cubics are not here. The other 3 decks that are staying are once again the same, which are going to be Vendrids, Unchained, and I forgot the last one, Malifaux. And then for the final deck, I thought about a deck that I will do, even though I don't really have its boss monster because my cards from Burst of Destiny didn't arrive yet, and that is Magistus. I want to do pure Magistus if you guys want to, so I might going to do that. Like I said, I don't really have the boss monster, the new one from Burst of Destiny, but if you guys are interested in it, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really, really much looking forward to do something with Magistus. I think they're a very interesting archetype overall right now, and they're probably going to get in the next OCG set another extra deck related monster, but I guess we'll have to see. So yeah, that's pretty much does it for the options. Like I said, again, they're going to be Vendrids, Malifaux, Unchained, and then the 4th new option is Magistus. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you want to see first. But that's pretty much does it for the video as an overall. Hope you enjoyed this very short video compared to my normal big chunky combo videos, like, that also have combos, because Salamangreat is a pretty straightforward deck. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. So if you enjoyed, consider to subscribe to the channel to see more, give a like, and I'll see you all in the next video. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Bye bye.